I've already hit recording. It's 5:30, so let's go ahead and start. Welcome and thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of the call tonight. Some real quick housekeeping mentions. This is recorded. We do that so that we can share this on our YouTube channel so that those who are not able to attend can watch it at another time. Everyone is automatically muted, and we ask that you stay muted so it helps cut down on that background noise and everybody can hear. There is a chat box. Some of you have found that. Please feel free to use that. If you take your mouse, your pointer, and hover on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the icons pop up and you'll see the chat box. Please feel free to use it. Tell us where you're from and why you joined us tonight. And when you do that, it might be automatically set to all panelists, but go ahead and do all panelists and attendees so that everybody can engage with each other. There is also a Q&A box. If you have questions, please post them in the Q&A box. We do have time later in the presentation to answer questions, but with so many people on the call, sometimes it can be challenging to keep track of the questions in the chat box, so please use the Q&A and we'll get to those questions and make sure that they are answered. For the folks that have called in tonight, those options are not available, but you can always follow up with me at any time to ask any questions, and then of course, you're able to get the recording tomorrow in an email. So again, this webinar, it's probably gonna last about 30 to 45 minutes, depending on how many questions we have. I'm Sarah Gledhill. I'm the Senior Florida Field Campaigner for the Center for Biological Diversity. And if you have been engaged with us on any other campaign, you know that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes with texting and emails and petition deliveries. So this afternoon we have Karina running tech for us. She's based in Tucson, and she's going to be sort of behind the scenes with us today, making sure that everything runs smoothly and we stay connected in case any internet drops. Next slide. So Karina and I, we're part of the grassroots organizing arm of the center, and by organizing our members, we strengthen the center's existing legal, scientific, political, and outreach work. Our show of grassroots force adds fuel, reach, and people power to the center's campaigns. And most importantly, when we work together, we work to mobilize and organize to take political action and build grassroots power. We then empower people and each other to become agents of change for the planet. And when we work together, especially right now during this time of a global pandemic, we hope that we can continue to connect you with other activists in your community, your state, and across the country. Next slide. So why are we here? We're here because we all care about Florida, and we all want to protect our state from being destroyed by the 3 new toll roads, formerly called the MCORS program. This next slide, I'm not going to get wonky with you, deep in the weeds about policy. We can have that conversation if you need it. But last year, Senate President Galvano and Governor DeSantis fast-tracked Senate Bill 7068. It was a horrible bill. It is a horrible law now that funds and constructs 3 new toll roads through Florida's natural environment and leaving rural communities with a new future, suburban sprawl. These projects represent 330 miles of roadway construction and the destruction of 52,800 acres of natural Florida. I provided you the MCORS, the state's Department of Transportation's logo. This is their map that they have presented that have some study area facts available to you. But all of you have pretty much overwhelmingly majority of you that are on this call have taken action on the roads to ruin, whether it's been writing a letter to the editor or signing a petition, sending a letter to the DOT, the Department of Transportation, or sending a message to the task force members. So I know you know about this. It is important to note that we're fighting something that has already become law. special interest groups like the Florida Chamber of Commerce, the Florida Asphalt Association, the Florida Ports Council, and landowners like billionaire Thomas Petterfee in Taylor County have already lined the pockets of elected officials. This is them using the power of their money, but we are here to fight back with the power of people. We are the people power, and it's our job to raise our objections and make sure that those sitting on the fence hear from all of us at every turn, at every corner, and they know that the Floridians do not support this plan, and we want them to speak up and advocate for a no build. The next slide is the maps to show you what's at risk. This is similar maps. Thousand Friends of Florida produced this based on the Florida Forever projects that are in line for state acquisition dollars through the Florida Forever Fund. Also the Rural and Family Land Protection Program, which is all about conserving working ranches in Florida. The one to the left shows also the Florida Forever lands, but also the critical greenway corridors that are critical for wildlife to migrate. So if you know that, if you are well aware of the plight of the Florida panther, and if the Southwest Connector goes through, you can see that east-west mosaic of green colors, and that's a critical corridor that Florida panthers need to be able to migrate north. And up in the northern part of the state, it's almost all green because it's critical habitat for so many species like the Florida black bear. Next slide. So organizing against this, organized option is growing. The Center for Biological Diversity is a partner with the No Roads to Ruin Coalition. The coalition is now at 85 businesses and organizations strong across the state of Florida. We've been engaged with communities everywhere across the state, whether it's in a corridor or outside of the corridors. We've been organizing and mobilizing for the public meetings. We've been writing letters to the editors. We've been forming regional teams. And you can visit the coalition's Facebook page at No Roads to Ruin and give us a like and help build that momentum. The coalition is strong, but what makes us stronger are the people working on the ground to oppose the project. And so today we have a special guest here with us to share an amazing success story that has come out of a very beautiful place in North Florida, which is Levy County, Florida. And with that, I'm going to let Karina go to Kimberly Smart. She is going to, and it's not Kimberly Smart, it's Kim Wheeler. I'm reading right now. So Kim Wheeler is going to go ahead and talk about the next slide once we convert everything.
Well, I'll start talking because my picture will come up and ignore me because I'm at home too. So I'm very excited. A no-build resolution was passed by the Levy County Commissioners. It was 3-2, with 2 of them who are currently task force members, and said that they believed no build, but that they would wait until after the meeting and then possibly go for no build. Their concern is what everyone's concern is, that there is no data. So anyway, months of educating, organizing, and just plain hard work by young and old, Republican, Democrat, and Independent made it happen. So it is truly people power. The city of Cedar Key passed a no-build resolution, and several other civic organizations from AARP to the American Legion in Williston to the Democratic Women's Club, various groups, really exciting. So with their help and the help of the No Roads to Ruin Coalition, we had more than 600 residents sign petitions, and they wanted to protect our county. So this was truly a grassroots, nonpartisan effort. There it is. That's what we want to protect. Financially, these roads make very little sense. The MCORS process, there's no data, there's none of the normal processes. And now with the shortfalls that we're expecting with revenues because of COVID and the pandemic, it makes even less sense. Once our beautiful and productive landscape is developed, it will be gone forever. It is this incredibly diverse environment that I'm sure you all know and appreciate that draws both tourists and future residents to this area. It's these farms and ranches that feed us. And do we really want to have what we are so blessed to have destroyed? The conditions, the corridors being considered are environmentally sensitive, and such development would stress our aquifer. Our aquifer is Florida. That is the essence of what we are. It makes our environment as diverse and interesting and awesome as it is. Water is essential to our tourism and agriculture, and thus to our economy and future. So I'm here to say, if we work together and we work in a bipartisan way, and we thank the people who have such a hard task, which is our commissioners. I thank our commissioners for listening to us. I thank everyone who has spoken up, and now we need to do more. We really need to be heard in Tallahassee. Our governor and representatives need to repeal this law, the MCOR's legislation. And they need to put our dollars to work for all the people and not just the developers. So I'm asking you, as someone who's been working hard on this, I was down in South Florida on Sanibel when they started destroying that. I love the Everglades. I love Florida. I've been here a long time, and I don't want to see it destroyed. So please join us, the fight to protect the Florida we love and our rural way of life. It's beautiful. Come visit after COVID's over. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Kim, for sharing that. And definitely, I saw some stuff come across my Facebook feed recently about swimming with the manatees. You know, Levy County is just an absolute gem in the farmlands, the peanut farms, and the longleaf pine stands up there are just amazing. So thank you for everything you've done to help protect Levy County. So we're here to help continue that fight and to continue fighting back against Florida's toll road sham. With your help, we're going to continue to resist with massive grassroots pressure. But now, as we take care of ourselves and have a social responsibility to our community, that pressure will heavily rely on a digital presence to stop the toll roads and protect Florida's future. So we are counting on you to make that presence strong. So we're still asking you to show up to every virtual meeting to oppose the toll roads. Make those who are sitting on the fence or who are lame ducks and not speaking out against the toll roads feel uncomfortable. Continue to build that grassroots pressure. We've done an amazing job writing letters to the editors. I know the center supporters have been phenomenal in response to our request for you all to submit, and you've done a great job, and we've seen quite a few that have printed. And then papers will continue to know this is a big issue amidst everything that's going on. And then amplifying that social media conversation. Share the events, share the news with the news stories. And the more people talking about it means the more people see it and the more people become empowered to take action. Next slide. So let's get down to business, right? So why are we here? We're here because even though there's a global pandemic out there, the task force has not stopped working. They have pushed back the due date 15 days, so 2 weeks they've pushed back. And instead of having a face-to-face meeting, they are now hosting a virtual meeting number 6 for all 3 corridors. And those 3 meetings are April 28th, tomorrow, April 29th, and the 30th. They will, they're planned for 9:30 to 12, but public comment is specifically scheduled for 10:30. So they're having a task force meeting to talk about the toll roads, but really their discussion is an hour from 9:30 to 10:30, and then the public comment kicks in. And I'm going to ask Karina if she can click on this MCOR's website link. But I think it's really important that with this virtual meeting, in the past they've held these rural had these meetings in rural areas that were hours away from us who care about the future of Florida. They were in the middle of the week. You can't take the time off from work to drive. So this is now an opportunity for virtually all folks who care about the future of Florida and want to engage, whether you're in Jacksonville, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, Miami. You don't have to get in a car to drive to the meeting to voice your opinion. You can attend this webinar and have an opportunity to speak directly to the task force. So a couple of things here. This is the link to, it's a little bit small, but that's okay. But at the bottom of the calendar, you'll see the green hyperlinks that you can click on. And it looks like you can go ahead and click there if you'd like to. This will be how you access. If you scroll down, Karina, you'll see a step 1 and a step 2. FDOT is making this a little bit tricky because you can't just register and be done with this. You need to register to attend the webinar, which is step 1. And then step 2, you then have to register to provide public comments, which is normal to register for public comments, but this has confused some people. And the important thing to note is that you have to do it by 5 p.m. So you received the links to this yesterday. I sent them to you. You'll receive it again after this email. But don't worry, even if you are not able to attend tomorrow's and you are concerned about tomorrow's, you can attend the Wednesday task force meeting or the Thursday, and you can say no roads to ruin. No build is the option, the only option for all of the roads. It doesn't matter and you're not limited. Karina, can you go back to the presentation, please? And then by 5 p.m. and then scroll to the next one. Next slide. So real quick, we're going to send out after this email, you're going to get a Google form that if Karina would like to, she can click on that talking points just so you know what's going to come into your email bin after this webinar. And you're basically going to see the same thing I just provided, the links, and then talking points. We are asking you to be brief because we do know that this can get really lengthy. So if you want to be brief, you can, but you have up to 3 minutes to talk. And again, it doesn't matter where you're calling from. If you don't live in a corridor, please take advantage of this opportunity and make sure that you tell them, I don't live near where these proposed roads are going to go, but I care about the Springs. I care about the Florida Panther. I care about rural communities that provide food for my family. So this is our chance to speak up. Go ahead and go back to the presentation, Karina. And next, so yeah, there, perfect, social media. So this is in that Google Doc that I just shared, that Karina shared with you, and it's gonna come to your email. This is cut and paste, so don't worry, we're not gonna miss out on anything. So this is the way that we would love for you to engage on Facebook. So many of our friends and family are on Facebook, and sometimes people may not be aware of these roads to ruin. And this is something, it's a call that the coalition has put out. So we would love for you to engage your network, to engage and educate the folks and empower them to take action. So the first one is a Facebook frame. I don't know if Karina is comfortable, it might automatically change her. But all you need to do is click on the link in the Google Doc, and there you go, perfect. And then you hit accept, and then so you will have now on your Facebook profile a tag that says no roads to ruin, and we're already starting to see that on Facebook with quite a few folks that are engaged on the issue and in commenting on posts. If you're up for it, take a picture of yourself and post it on your Facebook page. Tag the No Roads to Ruin Coalition, tag the Center for Biological Diversity, and say like you're attending a virtual meeting and talk about why you oppose the roads to ruin. if you're really up to it, you can live stream. I know that's a lot to ask, but Facebook loves it when people live stream. So the odds of you actually hitting other folks' walls so they can see, you have a higher percentage. On this Print the No Roads to Ruin logo, if you do a photo or if you do a live stream, feel free to click on this link in the Google Doc. It's a 8.5 by 11, printed in landscape mode, and then you can hold it up for a picture that you're gonna take. Go outside and have your family stand with it. You know, this is all about growing a movement of resistance against the roads to ruin, and we need everybody to jump on board and take these actions. So go back real quick. And when you do that, we're trying to build on this, and we would love it if you would do hashtag roads to ruin, no build, hashtag no roads to ruin, and then hashtag exit now. So next slide. This is where we get to open it up to question and answer. And I already know we have quite a few in the Q&A box, which I'm able to control, Karina, so thank you. So the first question, other than attending the virtual meetings, town halls, and the next days and online petitions, how can those of us that are not actually in the counties the proposed toll roads go through help the most? That is such a great question, because obviously in the current situation of looking at the financial impact that COVID-19 has brought to the state, it impacts us all. And even before COVID-19, it still impacted us all. So how can folks that are not in the corridors have a good impact and do the most? You can take action with the center and our coalition partners. There are online petitions. You can email the state. You can also email targeted task force members. And if you'd like to get with me, we can talk about that. Most importantly, if you're in the one senator, this will be getting a little wonky, but I'm going to say it anyways. The one senator that did vote against the Senate Bill 7068 lived in Southeast Florida. And if perhaps you're in one of his or in his vicinity, you know, that's an opportunity for you to contact him or contact a legislature and voice your opinion. And I think we'll be slowly rolling out more of that so you can stay engaged with us. And that'll be an amazing help for us going down the road. I have received a confirmation email from MCORS, but no info on how to sign on and speak at 10:30. Great question, Linda. Their platform is in GoToWebinar. We suspect that it will be audio only. We're not positive about that. There's a lot of uncertainty. I would love to know which, if you've signed up for all of the task force meetings or maybe one of them. After tomorrow, we'll know a lot about how they're going to do this. I do suspect what they might do is they're going to know, similar to what I have right now, I can see who's on here. And if I have a roll call of public commenters, I could select you. This is a really interesting space for all of us, even for them. So there's still a lot of uncertainty on how this will happen. But please stay engaged, don't give up, continue your resistance, and we will continue to be engaging with you too for other opportunities. Next question, since Florida Panthers are so endangered and have such a low birth rate, any opportunity to use that data to protect the areas involved? Yes, great question. If you have seen the National Geographic article that came out in August of 2019, or the Craig Pittman article that he wrote with the Tampa Bay Times, this would be the death knell for the Florida Panther. There is no conceivable way for the toll road to go through the Southwest Central Corridor without negatively impacting the Florida Panther. And so yes, part of that, that data for the low birth rate and also the vehicle strikes, the vehicle mortality, is part of the data to help protect. But what we're trying to do is that might be more of the permitting stages. We do not want this to get to the permitting stages. We want it repealed. We want it stopped yesterday. And of course, you know, the center's attorneys would be looking at this as well. So I signed up for, oh, so Linda did chime in. She did sign up for all three, but only received one email confirmation. Another funky aspect to this is you could use 3 different links to sign up for the task forces, or you could use one link to sign up for all 3 task force meetings. So what I'm maybe thinking is that you signed up on one link for all 3, and so that's why you received one email confirmation. Stay in touch with us if for some reason you're able to get in on tomorrow, but Wednesday is difficult or you still don't know. Let's stay in touch and we'll make sure that you stay connected and we communicate and make sure that FDOT knows that the public is having a problem engaging. Next question is, will public comments be given orally or via text? We believe that they will be given, we're most certain that they will be given orally. You have up to 3 minutes to give them through your microphone or on your cell phone, depending on how you access the meeting. If there is some reason that you can't give the testimony during the virtual task force meeting, you can always email fdot.listens, and I can get that email address, but you can always email the Department of Transportation, but we're pretty certain that they will be oral testimony during the virtual meetings, beginning at 10:30 a.m. Next question is, you mentioned repealing Senate Bill 7068. Is there any senator who is willing to put in a request to repeal in 2021? Could we ask our senators to do so? Yes, you can ask your senators to do so. And this question came in from one of our rock stars down in Southeast Florida. Currently today, there is not a senator who has put in a request to repeal. Because this was a pet project of Senate President Galvano, everybody was afraid to go against him. They all voted in line with him because of a retaliation that might have occurred, except for JJR, who is in Miami area. He is the only senator that voted against this. But that does not mean that the future does not hold a different story or a different path. And what we need to do is develop our people power, make sure that our voices are loud, and start communicating with our legislators to get a repeal. And let's make it happen. You know, they can't say no to us. So with that, are there any questions for Kim? We are at the 30-minute mark, and I know that this was fast, but this was certainly a prep call to be able to engage with you, let you know what's on the pike, or in the pike, I should say, and you know, have any opportunity to answer any specific questions. Let you know that the coalition is continuingly to work together to oppose 3 toll roads at all costs. There's a lot going on in Jefferson County. Levy County was a wonderful success story. We would like to see more. So those folks that are outside of the corridor, you know, let's develop an outside of the corridor team where we can talk about strategies and continue to oppose this. So if I don't see any more questions come in the next 2 minutes or so, I'm going to touch base with Karina or go in the chat to make sure nothing slipped in there. Oh, hold on, we do have some more. And another option to repeal is to defund the project. Yes, we have been tinkering with that idea. The way the state has funded the MCORS project, they have wrapped it up in this amazing package. So you cannot line item veto the MCORS. You would have to defund a whole program, a whole slew of programs that DOT is funding that a lot of existing infrastructure needs will be funded by. So they've made it very complicated to do that, but there is discussion, especially with the federal money coming in. There's going to be budget discussion, so we are examining that. We just don't have a clear path for that right now. But just certainly, this is a $10 billion boondoggle that none of us need and none of us want. So that's certainly an option. Can you give an example on what to say for the comment for out of area people? Yes, certainly in your Google talking points file that you're going to get sent to you in email, there are suggested talking points. But you know, certainly you're a Floridian, you're a taxpayer, and whether or not you live in the area directly impacted or out of the area, you're still a Floridian that cares about the future of Florida. You don't want to see it paved over. So don't be nervous for the fact that you don't live in the area. That is absolutely, you know, this is more of an opportunity for you to engage in the issue in addition to signing petitions and emails. Like, this is your chance to speak up and tell the task force members, hey, I don't live near where they're proposed, but I don't want to see them happen, and you need to recommend a no-build option. Next question, will wetlands be affected? Yes, wetlands will be affected. The task forces are going through, I'm going to try not to get too wonky with you. The task force members are going through a dialogue about avoidance, minimization, and mitigation. And so in that, wetlands are going to be subject to destruction by these roads if they were to happen. So obviously we don't want that to happen. That's part of the calculation. So we don't want to see them affected, but if they were to happen, I mean, Florida is a big wetland for the most part, so. Is there anything State House representatives candidates can do to help? We are in a 501c3 webinar at this time, but certainly folks that are in office now, you as a constituent can contact your senator, you can contact your state representative and tell them that you do not support the toll roads, you want it defunded, you want it repealed, you want them to stand up with you and to represent us, the people who do not want the toll roads. So that's an opportunity. And then for candidates to help out, that might have to spin into a C4 conversation that can occur at a later time. Next question, could we approach that based on science, human encroachment in wild places is a path for disease such as coronavirus? Certainly. You can certainly, especially if that's what you would like to speak to, you attending a virtual meeting and your opportunity to the task force, you tell them what you think. You tell them how you feel about the roads to ruin, and you tell them why. You can definitely use encroachment into wild places as a pathway to viruses such as corona. So definitely, great question. Is FDOT required to do an environmental impact statement for a particular alignment? There is going to be environmental impact statements. One of the concerns that we have is that you look at the current federal Trump administration is dismantling the Clean Water Act, and they are allowing the state of Florida to take over delegation of protecting our environment. And I'm oversimplifying that, but that makes us very, very nervous. We don't have a lot of confidence in having the state do an EIS, which is why we're trying to stop it in this phase to get a no-build option through the task force, and ultimately have the state legislature and our governor say, you know what, this was a stupid idea. We have other needs that need to be addressed. We're gonna halt this process. The next question is, aren't the MCORs just the starting point for the other supposed amenities to follow? i.e. broadband, sewer, etc. So the 10 billion is just a wild guess for the roads. Yeah, you are so right. This is a starting point for supposed amenities. One of the things is the state is like dangling a carrot over these rural communities, saying that they'll get water connections, they'll get sewer connections, they'll get broadband access. And certainly we believe it's a bait and switch. We think it's misleading, because you do not need to build a road, whether it's a $1 billion road or a $10 billion road. You don't need roads to get central water and sewer lines. You don't need roads to get broadband. We think it's just a sham. It's a bait and switch tactic, and underestimating by $10 million so much. And it is really a wild guess. And that's one of the issues, is DOT has no financial analysis, much less have they had a needs analysis to demonstrate to us why they need the roads. There has not been a financial analysis. So, we're doing our best to have a wild guess right now, and it's in the 10 billions. So great question. Next question is, does the task force really have the power to stop the roads to ruin, regardless of what they recommend? That is a very spot on question to ask. November 15th, a recommendation will go to the governor and the state legislature. And we are working very hard to get that recommendation a no build. It has been done in the past with the I-75 Relief Task Force, which was a few years ago. It went through a very similar process. And ultimately, because there was so much opposition from the community, and not only was there opposition from the community, there was very powerful opposition within the communities that opposed the roads. And so the I-75 Task Force ultimately came up with not building new roads, but enhancing existing I-75 for the relief. So it has been done in the past. We are trying to strategically look at the task force members and pluck them off, and those that are sitting on the fence teetering, we're trying to push them on the side of no build. We do have some task force members that have said that they will be advocating for a no build, and that will be their recommendation, but we need overwhelming majority to have a no build option. Next question, since the state seems to be run by conservatives, I do not understand why conservatives would wish to spend funds on what is clearly welfare for developers and lobbyists. Oh, that's a loaded question. Our system is broken here in Florida. Our system is broken here in the United States. It hurts to read a question about that and agree with you. That really, it's the select few, the special interests that are getting handouts, while the other 98% we're all working our tails off, whether it's looking at environmental issues or social welfare issues. That's certainly state of affairs. And we're all working together. And that's why, collectively, one of the things what we're doing when we're organizing is we're connecting with each other. And, you have right now, Ingrid Ramirez is providing all of you an opportunity to engage in another way, which is texting resist to a text number. So, that's why we're here today, is to not only talk about the virtual task force meetings, but to connect together and talk about such a horrendous situation that you just pointed out there. In the example, next question, in the example that you gave earlier, that the toll road bill was overturned, what was the main focus issues brought to light in the town hall? Yeah, great question. It's specifically the main issues that brought to light. It was I-75 relief with Marion County, Alachua, that area, and it was the Alachua County, I believe, had a resolution to oppose the I-75 relief for any new alignments. Marion County, with their equestrian community, was very vocal, very well funded. They came out and they didn't want to see any of these roads. So, one of the reasons why they had the I-75 relief study was to alleviate congestion and make I-75 safer, because as we all know, that's a dangerous section between Gainesville and Ocala. So that was what they were trying to fix. But when they put those lines on the map, which that's a good point to make, thank you for asking these questions, we still don't know where these roads are going to go. They still haven't committed to it. Right now, we just have entire swaths that just cover county to county. So once those lines were on the map for the I-75 relief, the community were like, no, we don't want this. And so they fought back and they did a great job. And similar to Levy County, Marion had a lot of yard signs and bumper stickers. Levy County just did the same thing with their yard sign. Kim provided that in her presentation with the pink. Rural Levy says no to toll roads. Is there a way to perhaps get this on the ballot where the public can decide? Ooh, you've got some good questions. The state legislature in DeSantis just signed in a bill to make it even more difficult for citizens' initiatives to get on the ballot for us to vote and for the public to decide. And that's done by design. I'm going to go in the direction and be a pessimist and probably say that that's not realistic at this point. And because the state is fast tracking this so quickly, because this is welfare for developers and consultants and landowners, and they're going to use this shutdown as once the economy gets back up. We saw this when the bubble burst, the housing bubble burst. Their solution was like, let's build more houses, like let's get to work. So we're already seeing movement from the next Senate president that this is the greatest thing that's going to rescue rural counties, especially after this global pandemic. So we've got a lot of work, but I don't feel that getting this on the ballot is going to be our option right now. So that's it for questions, and we've gone 45 minutes, y'all. I'm not seeing any more, but I do want to be respectful of your time. If you would like to reach out to me, I am available to you. A lot of folks know that I don't turn off work very well. So you have my email address, you can contact me. This is my cell phone. You can give me a call, you can text me. Let's stay in touch over the next 3 days. Take those actions on social media so that we can elevate this to your network and engage others and make them informed. But let's also stay in touch to see how this turns out and what happens in these virtual meetings. And with that, I have such gratitude to all of you for attending tonight. And thank you so much. And till next time, thank you.